Peggy Guggenheim Museum Project, Venice 2024. The Power of Imagination. Cubism. Cubism is an artistic movement created by Pablo Picasso and Georges Braque in 1907. During the first period, called Analytical Cubism, artists painted geometric shapes like cubes, spheres, cylinders, and cones, and used them to show many sides of the subjects they observed in the same painting. The artists didn't want to copy reality. They wanted to take the world apart and put it back together in a different way. They analyzed people or objects from different angles, and then they painted all their parts on the canvas. They used very few colors because they wanted the viewer to concentrate on the shapes. During the second period, called Synthetic Cubism, the painters mixed together different shapes. They also used more colors. They did not use just paint. They often put pieces of newspaper or cloth on the canvas. This new style of art was called collage. Pablo Picasso. He was born in Spain in 1881 and died in 1973. Picasso loved art from when he was a little boy. He didn't just paint in one style. He had a blue period where he used mostly blue colors to show sad and dark feelings. Then he had a rose period where he used warm colors like pink and orange to paint happy scenes. In his Cubist period, Picasso mixed up shapes and colors, creating paintings that seemed like puzzles to be solved. Faces with eyes on different sides, shapes twisted and turned. His art was a playground of imagination. His famous painting Guernica is an example of how he expressed also his emotions through art. In this masterpiece, he depicted the horrors of war, showing the pain and terror of a community under siege. The poet. This is a clear example of analytic cubism. Here, abstraction is so extreme that objects are very difficult to recognize. The human form is deconstructed and reconstructed using straight and curved lines in a pyramid. The small circle at the top can be the eye, connected to the long line of the nose and a curved shape of a mustache under it. You can then guess a chin, a pipe, a neck, a torso, and the arms of a chair. Picasso destroyed the world into squares and triangles and reassembled it in a new way to show all the sides of objects and figures at once. It is a multiple view, as if he moved around his models or objects to make a synthesis of them. Surrealism. Surrealism is like a secret door that artists opened to swim into the fantastical sea of the imagination. Instead of painting things exactly as they are, surrealists created scenes like dreams, full of surprises and unusual combinations of objects. At the heart of surrealism is the idea that our dreams and imagination are powerful tools to create art. Artists believed that by exploring the mysterious parts of our minds, we can discover amazing stories and ideas. They loved to use symbols. For example, a clock represents the passing of time, or a door can symbolize a new opportunity. Joan Miró. Joan Miró was born in Spain in 1893 and died in 1983. He believed that art can be a playground where the mind can fly free. His paintings are full of playful shapes and colors. They were Miró's way of speaking the language of his imagination. Miró wanted his art to make people happy and curious about the wonderful things around them. He used colors to create joyful worlds that make everyone smile. Reds, blues, yellows, and greens played together, bringing life and energy in a visual symphony. Miró used symbols as personal expressions of his thoughts. His favorite things to paint were stars and moons. To Miró, they are symbols of dreams and infinite possibilities. His birds symbolize freedom, spontaneity, his desire to break away from the everyday world and to explore creativity. Dutch interior too. During a trip to the Netherlands in 1928, Miró was inspired by Jan Sten's The Dance Lesson for his painting Dutch interior too. The subject of Sten's painting is the cat, but also the sound, the movement, and the happiness of this dancing lesson. Miró converted Sten's painting into abstract form. He increased the importance of the figures and reduced the objects of the room. He changed size, position, and also color. In fact, we first notice the animals and the human figures before seeing the smaller things around them. The window is reduced to one small square at the top of the painting. He transformed the cat into a squiggle and the laughing child into a floating head. The skirt of the girl became a deep blue shape. Miró desired to put life in front of everything in this cheerful painting, alive and full of activity. René Magritte. René Magritte was born in Belgium in 1898 and died in 1967. He painted ordinary things in extraordinary ways. He liked to play tricks with our minds by painting familiar objects in unusual settings. He painted a pipe and wrote under it, "This is not a pipe." He wanted us to understand that an image of something is not the same as the thing itself. Magritte painted lots of apples. They suggest hidden truths or obscured identities. He also liked to paint men without a face, to create a sense of ambiguity. Curtains and veils are symbols of what you can see and what you can't see. The sky, sometimes depicted indoors, represents the possibilities of the imagination. He loved to paint everyday objects, but enlarged to surreal proportion. They are symbols of the absurdity that can be found in the ordinary. One of his most famous paintings, The Son of Man, shows a man with an apple hiding his face. This artwork invites us to ask, who is the man behind the apple? What does it mean? Magritte asked us to explore the mysteries that exist under the surface. Empire of Light. Magritte invites us on a journey to a place where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. At the bottom of the painting, there is a house in the night, but if you look up, the sky is bright blue. Magritte mixed day and night, creating a magical and mysterious scene. He plays with our ideas of day and night, light and dark, to create a painting that feels both familiar and fantastical. He invites us to explore themes of duality, contradictions, and the subconscious. He asks us to reflect on the nature of our perception. Abstract Expressionism. Abstract Expressionism was born after the World War II in the United States. It was also called the New York School. Artists abandoned the familiar forms of realistic representation and explored the realm of abstraction, where emotions, gestures, and the act of painting were the most important things. Abstract artists wanted to express their inner feelings, not to paint recognizable objects. They wanted to create art that came from their hearts. They used bold colors, energetic brush strokes, and spontaneous gestures. They wanted to have a more direct connection between the artist and the viewer. With abstract expressionism, you can let your feelings guide your art, create a dance of emotions and ideas using paint and canvas. Jackson Pollock. Jackson Pollock was born in 1912 in the United States and died in 1956. His style of painting was called action painting. He didn't use a brush. He used to drip, splatter, and fling paint onto his canvases. He worked on the floor, moving around the canvas, pouring and splashing paint from cans or brushes. When you look at one of his paintings, you can see layers of swirling lines, splashes of colors, and a strong sense of movement. His painting number 1A 1948 is an example of his style. It's like a maze of lines that make you feel like you're part of the painting itself. Pollock's art wasn't just about the final painting. It was also about the process. He believed in expressing his emotions and energy through his movements while painting. His paintings didn't have a right side up or a wrong side down. You could look at them from any angle and find something different each time. Enchanted forest. It is like a big, colorful adventure that happened on a huge canvas. This painting hasn't got trees or animals. It shows the spirit of the forest. Each layer of paint seems to hold a story, inviting us to walk through it. The colors, blues, greens, yellows, and reds, blend and collide, form shapes that move and dance across the canvas. This painting evokes emotions and sparks the imagination. It has got no borders. It invites us to lose ourselves in its complexity, to find our own meaning in the chaos of colors and lines. Every viewer can see something different, a hidden path, a secret place, or a strange creature. Pollock here shows that art can also be about the energy and emotions captured in the movement of painting. And you? How would you imagine an enchanted forest, an empire of light, a room, or a poet? How would you express yourself in the cubist, surrealist, or abstract expressionist style? Be creative. Use the power of your imagination.